Hi guys, Jurassic Junkie here and it's growing. Welcome to the Friday Night Rant. So yes, it's starting to come on pretty good now, and I've got past the itching stage, and if anyone's ever tried to grow a beard, you know how painful the itching stage actually is. So my plan at the moment is probably just to grow it for another 2-3 weeks, and then right at the end of November to shave in whatever stupid thing I'm actually going to be doing. So before we crack into a bit of news and stuff, here is my sponsored by drink, and it is Shandy. And to be fair, you can't actually knock a Shandy, they're very refreshing. So two things then I want to talk about this week are two things that I've missed in the past because there's been so much to try and cram in, and it's two pieces of Nintendo news. Now the first piece is, yes, I have got egg on my face. I did actually say there was a Luigi 2DS coming out and said practically it was dead confirmed because that's what Nintendo does, and it was fake. So yeah, this chap has made an absolutely brilliant fake. And I have to tip my hat to him, it is absolutely brilliant. And the best thing is, now he's actually got the limelight, people are coming in, asking him questions, he's actually put it onto an auction site, and the link is down below, and he'll be giving 25% of the actual money made to Child's Play charity. But the main thing I want to talk about Nintendo this week is Letterbox/SwapNote. Now this is a feature that's actually now been disabled on the 3DS. And it's something that's actually kind of angered me. Now, as you know, I don't really play much 3DS. I do actually like it, I just don't play enough of it. But the point is, Jo enjoys it. She enjoys drawing pictures or taking photos and sending them to her niece. Now, this system was just a way where you could actually just draw or send photos to your friends, provided you had friend codes. But the problem is, there is always somebody there going to misuse a service. And sadly, it's actually turned in the way that some paedophile or somebody of a sick mind has actually exposed themselves to a minor. Now, I hold my hands up, that's obviously a horrible thing to actually happen. But I want to actually stick up for Nintendo here and say that isn't Nintendo's fault. Nintendo have got it set in place that you can't just randomly take photos of yourself and expose it to everybody on the internet. You have to actually be friends. So to do so, you need to exchange friend codes. So it's not as if people are just randomly doing it. The problem is, even though Nintendo has actually said to people, don't randomly give your friend codes out on forums, kids are actually going out and randomly giving the friend codes. But the problem is, it's one of these ones where a very few rare occurrences affect millions of people. So Nintendo's gone along and completely disabled this service now. Now I respect Nintendo trying to obviously protect children and minors from such sick monsters, but the problem is I think they should have done it a different way. First of all, you've already put a step in there to actually stop people doing it by saying, don't just randomly give your codes out. Well, personally, I think the best way to get around this was Nintendo to instantly just probably disable the service for everybody who hasn't got parent controls turned on. So that means kids will be able to say to the parents, could you please turn it on if you trust me? And they can say yes or no. And obviously adults like Joe can just automatically turn it on for themselves. And I think it's ludicrous just because of the very minute people of that abuse this service. It's exactly the same as somebody actually saying something really bad on PlayStation 3 and they're saying, right, we're going to remove the messaging feature, or somebody exposing themselves on Connect and saying, right, we're going to disable all Connect features. I think it's ludicrous to remove absolutely everything because one or two people are abusing the service. So what I'm trying to say is, Nintendo, you need to just grow some balls and not flake as soon as something happens and say, okay, we're going to try and do something else now to protect the children, but you are doing enough in my eyes. And I always think it's down to the actual parents to make sure they know what their children are doing and to educate their children not to randomly give their information out on the internet. So, moving on to a bit more lighter news. As we know, I absolutely love tabloids. I think journalism is absolutely great here in the UK, especially when they don't fact check anything. And as I spoke about last week, we had the Res Wars, and it means the actual Mirror decide to wade in this week and actually give their 2 cents on this war. So the topic they decided to talk about is how Rise is actually running at 900p on the Xbox One, which is in fact true. But they then went on to say it's actually running at 1080 on the more powerful PlayStation 4, which I think is absolutely brilliant because Crytek and Microsoft obviously thought this was an exclusive, but as the Mirror broke out this week, it's actually on the PlayStation 4. So if you actually listen to the Mirror, you might as well go with Xbox One's actually getting the first Killzone map pack, PlayStation 4's actually getting exclusive Halo content, and Mario Kart actually runs at 1080p on the Mega Drive. But keeping on the entire Res War, as I was talking last week, it was mainly Call of Duty and Battlefield what was talking about. And Call of Duty is now out, and it's getting a bit of bad press. Now first of all, it's actually getting slated on Metacritic, with an astonishing 2.2 on the Xbox, 1.9 on the PlayStation 3, and a 1.6 on the PC. Now I do understand sometimes people come in the droves on Metacritic and do try to troll. But Call of Duty do not help themselves, because also this week it's actually come out that they've been reusing some of Modern Warfare 2 in Call of Duty Ghosts. Now I'm going to put a little video up. I would say spoiler, but it probably won't spoil the game for you because you've already seen it in Modern Warfare. And as you can see, they've actually used the exact same mocap to actually just animate this entire thing, and all they've done is just simply swapped out the skins. Now all I have to say is, if you are going to be selling millions and millions of units like you do, and you make a ridiculous amount of money, please make it a new and fresh game, and don't just reuse some of your old stuff over and over again. Now I have to say, fair enough, Ghost has brought out the actual Extinctions mode, and I do really like the look of that, but just by reusing old cutscenes, it is f***ing lazy. But keeping on the Call of Duty theme, there is actually a few rumours rumbling through at the moment about next generation. Now, as I spoke about, it's actually going to be running at native 1080 on the PlayStation 4, and the rumours are that the actual frames per second is constantly dropping on the online mode. Some people are reporting that it is actually making the game quite unbearable. So straight away, the Xbox fanboys have obviously all kicked in saying, well, it works fine on our 720 version, even that nobody knows yet. Then some information come out and says apparently it's actually running quite bad on the Xbox One. But then Destructoid have come in and actually said they've actually played it on the Xbox One and it runs sweet as a nut. But they then back that up by saying they've played simply one match. So I cannot trust the information of after playing one match you can say this is a smooth game. So, does that mean that both the next-gen consoles have a shaky frame per second laggy game? And if that is the case, then this game is just going to bottom straight away, because, as we all know, Call of Duty is played for online modes. So, we shall soon see, because we're about 2 weeks away now until we'll actually find out. So, moving on to the other FPS, and that is Battlefield 4. There's nothing particular I want to talk about Battlefield 4, apart from they actually said they're rolling out some Kinect features. Now, Kinect for me is something I'm looking forward to, simply because it's coming with my console. Something that's getting packaged in, I can't wait to try it, but same with the original Kinect, I don't like all these giant gimmicky features. But I do like features when they're done well. So Battlefield has said this week that they're actually putting in head tracking, which can allow you to just slightly pop your head out around a corner. And these are the features that excite me. I would never want to go in and go reload and do something stupid like that. But if I've got my controller and there is many buttons to press in Battlefield, if I can just obviously just do that myself, actually looking at the TV, and my character will pop out and just check if there's any enemies, that is a brilliant feature that I cannot wait to use. So I just hope next generation learn when to use the Kinect and when not to. But at the same time, this applies for the actual Wii U, because as I said, the actual tablet, some games make you constantly do that all the time, and I didn't like it. But when it came down to a game like Zombie U, it worked perfectly because it loaned itself well to how it actually worked. So please, if anyone's making games for the Xbox One, use the Kinect wisely. So moving on to something that's really excited me. Now, all the time, obviously, back in the day, I used to play a lot of games as a kid, and now I've got older, there's been a few times I've gone, I hope that gets remade, or I hope that gets remade. A majority of those games have, but there is always that one that's always been at the back of my mind going, why haven't we seen it come back? And that game is Destruction Derby. Now we have a billion different flavours of racing games, some serious, some arcade, some against cops, some against people online, but we very rarely get to see the Destruction Derby style game. So that leads us on to Kickstarter. Now, a company by the name of Bugbear Incorporated have actually made a few games by the name of Fallout. By Fallout, I mean Flat Out. So let's start out again. The people that actually made Flat Out, which again is a great car series, it does kind of lend itself a bit to Destruction Derby because it's a bit crazy, fun and quirky. But they've come to Kickstarter this week to say they want to make a Destruction Derby / Flat Out game which loans itself perfectly to both the games. And to top it all off, they've actually put a video out on the internet showing how good these cars can actually be destroyed. And there's plenty of videos out there against car versus car, but this is one of the videos that's excited me the most, and it's just going through like a meat grinder blending machine. Now, I've never seen such level of destruction on a vehicle before, and I am very excited about this game. And as we know, with 99% of Kickstarter projects, they tend to always go onto PC and very rarely make itself to console. But these guys are actually asking for $350,000 to make this game, and if there is any additional money made, which is a stretch goal, then they'll be looking at porting it to the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Now, this is one game I need to see come true, and I'm going to put the link down below because it's got some great footage of how the actual game plays. And all I'm saying is next gen Destruction Derby sold. So if you are interested in Destruction Derby game, please check the link down below and support it, because this game needs to be made. So the next thing I want to talk about is a chap called Jason Martin. Now this story is something I've been planning to talk about over the last 2-3 weeks and I haven't had the time. And I just want to put it out there to horrify most of you men. Now Jason Martin, who is 41, I shall put a photo of that strapping young man up there, likes to play his Xbox. And even better still, he likes to play it really loud. And as you can guess, his neighbour's not pretty happy with how loud he actually plays his Xbox One, so his neighbour decided to knock on his door and asked him to turn the Xbox down. And this is when Jason Martin decides to bite down onto his penis, and I quote, like a sandwich, and actually made a bit of a mess of his tallywhacker. Now when the police turned up, Jason still had blood all around his mouth. Now I've got to say this guy has to be tapped, because there's never been a scenario where I've actually sat down and thought, oh, f***ing campers, I am so angry I could bite a dick. And to top things off, Jason only has 2 front teeth. So the victim actually described it more like a rat bite. So yes, I've just put that out there, so sleep well gentlemen. So that pretty much then leaves us with the question of the week. Now as Xbox and PlayStation 4 dates are coming ever much closer, I'm obviously starting to get really excited and giddy. But at the same time, I'm now putting plans in motion of what I'm actually going to be doing on the first day. My initial plans at first is to get a buttload of Dr. Pepper in, a load of easy finger snacks because I don't want to actually sit there and pause gameplay. I want to be able to just eat without looking. But after surfing Reddit this week, I actually found out that the Xbox One sponsor in Germany are doing pizza burgers. Now personally, I have never heard or seen of a pizza burger in my life, and I now need one. I've also gone on to YouTube and typed in pizza burgers and looked at them and completely sold it to myself. So my plans for Xbox One night is to just make a load of pizza burgers, Dr. Pepper, and just try and do an all-nighter. So I'm going to be turning that into the question of the week, and that is, what is your plans on the actual first night of getting a new console? Do you kick back with a few beers? Now personally I don't want to, because I want to keep myself sound mind all night. Or do you just treat it like any old normal day? And the last thing I actually want to put out there as well is also, as probably everybody already knows, that the YouTube comments has now changed. A lot of people are upset that you've been forced to be a Google Plus user. Personally, I'm already one, and it's not really affected me. But the problem is, I'm actually finding it hard to reply to some messages. Now, I don't know if all the messages have been migrated over to the new system. So what I'm trying to say is, if you do leave a comment down below and it doesn't say Jurassic Junkie has replied to your message, it's not because I'm ignorant, it's because I can't. But fingers crossed that's going to get rectified quite soon. So that's me done and dusted, guys. I'm off to play some Serious Sam because it was cheap on Xbox Live, and I absolutely fell in love with Serious Sam. Great classic old school FPS. So as always, I hope you have a great weekend, and thank you very much for watching. Cheers guys, bye.